have episodic ataxia type 2, which is a rare neurological condition. And to raise awareness about episodic ataxia type 2 is that it's very similar to having epilepsy or epileptic seizures. In fact, some people that have episodic ataxia type 2 and the gene mutation I have it in, CACNA1A mutated gene, tend to also have epilepsy in some way or another as well. So I wanted to talk more about the seriousness behind episodic ataxia type 2 that people don't really talk about. There are forms of epilepsy even that are very, very serious. And there's this form called epileptic endopathy. I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. Something similar to that. Some people with a mutation in the gene that I have it in can also have that, which is very, very serious form of seizure disorder that it life-threatening. In other words, seizures can be life-threatening, and some people that have episodic ataxia type 2 can have seizures in conjunction with their episodic ataxia type 2, meaning when they have an episodic ataxia. The ataxia means imbalance and coordination problem, but they can also have the seizures as well during episodic ataxia episode. Some people do have that with episodic ataxia type 2. It doesn't seem to happen in all individuals. And for those individuals that don't really have the seizure disorders with their episodic ataxia can still be very, very serious. Now, having epilepsy tends to be more common than having this neurological disorder called episodic ataxia. With mine, I get twitches. I get movements that are very similar to seizures if they're not a full seizure as well with mine. So that's kind of like unknown as to why that is. But I get jerks and I get twitches when I have some of my episodes as well, either before or after or during. But but those that have episodic ataxia alone and don't have the seizures along with the episodic ataxia can still encounter very serious circumstances. Now, based on my understanding, people with epilepsy shouldn't drive or can't drive, okay, if they have uncontrolled epilepsy. People know that because epilepsy is very, very common. But if you have episodic ataxia type 2, honestly, I don't think you should be driving unless if it's really under control. Just like it is with the seizures or epilepsy. Same thing with episodic ataxia. But because it's a rarer neurological condition, people don't even think about how similar it is to actually having just the epilepsy or seizure disorders. I want to share with you my experience. Very similar to epileptic seizures, I also get an aura feeling. And what that is that it's a feeling before you have it come on, a full-blown attack. People with epileptic seizures have this. I get this with my episodic ataxia right before I have an episode. I get an aura. They call it an aura, which is like a neurological event that happens. That's kind of like a warning right before you have a full-blown attack. I actually get those, okay? People with epilepsy have those. So it's very similar in that aspect. So yeah. Anyway, also my cognitive functioning tends to really decline more so during an episode, meaning I get confused a lot. I get like fogginess in my head, like I can't think. I will share with you one incident that happened when I was driving. So I felt an aura come on this one time I was driving. And when I feel an aura come on, it's like, okay, it's time to pull over before I have a full-blown episode. So I ended up pulling over. It was 90-degree weather out. It was 90 degrees. Hot out. Very, very hot. I pulled over. My vision was starting to get blurred. I started to see double vision. So it was a good thing I pulled over, because actually episodic ataxia can be very, very serious even when you're driving. You are put into serious circumstances if you have episodic ataxia. Like if you are operating machinery, if you're driving, because it's an episodic condition, it could be very unpredictable as well. And you feel that. And I ended up pulling over, okay, in 90 degrees, which is part of the reason probably why I had an episode come on that day. I did take an ambulance to the hospital that day. I started to feel dizzy. I started to get my vertigo from it. But I can't function. I tried to call for help. Tell someone where I was. It doesn't work. I tried, because I just can't function. I wouldn't know exactly where I am when I'm during in an episode, so that all seems to fail. And to boot, I could not even get the air on in the car or the fan or either one, but because I can't think straight when I'm in an episode. So I could have almost died of being overheated or heat exhaustion, or could have had something more serious in result of it, a heat stroke or some darn thing in a 90-degree weather, because I failed to turn the air on in the car because I couldn't function enough to do that. So episodic ataxia, people do not talk about the serious consequences in having this condition when it comes to these certain things. And it can be life-threatening when it comes to these different aspects of having it. It itself doesn't seem to shorten life expectancy, but you can be put into very serious life-threatening situations when it comes to it. And that's kind of like what I wanted to address in this video and talk more about. So anyways, I hope this video brought you some insight, and let's raise awareness on episodic ataxia. Like my shirt, bruised by ataxia but not broken. I just happened to be wearing that today. Anyways, see you soon. Bye.